Okay, welcome back, and this is day 4 of the install here. We're right in the middle of Christmas. Christmas Day is in a couple of days, and we are just here to just make a little bit more progress before the new year, and we plan to get this install finished and commissioned in the new year. We've, as you've saw in the previous videos, the solar panels are all installed on the roof, which is brilliant. We're really pleased with how they look, as is the client, which is very important. And we're here today, and the wind is absolutely blowing a gale. There's a storm here, and this property is not protected by the wind whatsoever. It's just comes straight off the hills. So the solar panels are all still on the roof, which is, it's a relief. But as you can see, so I'm in the garage, and this is where everything is being installed. You can see here that the heating engineers have installed all of their gubbins, some of which I haven't got a clue what they are. I know that's the hot water cylinder, and that's all the only one I really care about, because we are installing an Eddi as well, which is a hot water solar diverter. So that will heat the hot water from the solar generation when it's not being used elsewhere. So yeah, that's their side. That's been done a couple of years, I believe. That's all part of the ground source heating system. And my wall has been cleared here. This is where we are going to put all of our bits and bobs, so our inverters, the Tesla Powerwall and everything else. In fact, I've got a little plan that I did just last night. It's a very basic plan, and it just shows you where everything's going. So yeah, what the plan is, I'm going to put the Tesla gateway here. Then I'm going to put the 2 inverters side by side. Nice bit of 50 by 50 trunking down that side and across and down again on the other side. We'll probably put the Zappi here, the Eddi here, so it keeps the MyEnergi devices together, and then we'll put the Tesla Powerwall here. We've got this little area down here which is just a bit of a dugout area of the concrete in the garage, which might be absolutely ideal for the earth rod that we will be installing. And then, as you can see, so back to the board. This is the main board. Well, this is one of the boards. The main board's in the house, but this is where the main incomer comes in, the main fuse. So that's where the main tails are. We're going to have to split them and re-divert them through the Tesla gateway. So there's an awful lot to do. Plus, the customers asked us to rewire the garage as well, because the garage is still old wiring. Right, so flash forward 24 hours, we had a bit of a problem with our camera yesterday. Unfortunately, we ran out of SD card space. So that was cut a bit short, just as I was explaining, I think, if I can remember, about the wiring that we're doing for the garage, which is just a bit of an extra thing, because the customer's had his new house built a couple of years ago, and so this is the old wiring in the garage. What we're going to do is just rip it all out, add 4 batten lights, four metal clad sockets, and that should just smarten the place up. And so that's something we're going to do today, actually. But as you can see yesterday, as I was explaining about the wall where we're going to put all of our bits and bobs, we've got the majority of it on, actually. We just got this space here is left for the Powerwall. So it's kind of as per the plan that we drew out. We've got the gateway, we've got the MyEnergi Zappi, we've got the MyEnergi Eddi, and then we've got our bits. We've got the 2 inverters, isolators and meters for each inverter, and then we've got the AC isolator here, ready for the Powerwall. So we made some decent progress yesterday. I mean, it was only sort of half a day-ish, so I had to go and get my hair cut. So let me know in the comments what you think. So what I want to show you is the route as well back to the board. So if Leo kindly swivels the camera around, obviously we've got to get everything over there. We've got to get the meter tails, the main meter tails from the main incomer into the gateway and back out again. So we're going to go through all the beams here. We're going to get that done today. We've got to do a little bit of manipulating here to sort that out. And then this is the garage board here. That serves a lot of this. So we've got some spare ways which we can use for our Zappi, we can use for the lighting and power in here, and also for the Eddi immersion heater as well. like I said before, this really is for us, it's just like a filler over Christmas. We're making some progress so that in January we haven't got it all to do, because the customer didn't want the trench for the DC cables. He just didn't want that digging before Christmas, which I can understand because he's got family coming and everything. So until we've got that dug, we can't get our DC cables back, we can't commission the system anyway. So all we're doing is just getting a bit ahead of the curve so that come January, we've got all the components on, and all we've got to do really, get our DC cables back and connect it all up. So that's, we made excellent progress actually. So yeah, we'll check in with you later and show you what else we've got managed to get on the wall. We'll get the power wall on and get most of it wired today. Okay, so we can actually see what we're doing now. We've installed the light in. We've put the 5-foot batten lights in. It's lit up like Blackpool, so we can see what we're doing. We've installed the 4 sockets as part of a new ring circuit in here as well. So now we're going to turn our attention to mounting the power wall. And that's the last thing we're going to do today, because it is Christmas. The apprentice is screaming, he wants to go home and start his Christmas holidays. So that's what we're going to do. So yeah, we'll get this mounted. It shouldn't take too long. The hard bit is just lifting it onto the bracket, which we've got this like motorcycle jack for, so you might see us using that a little bit. But let's get this done and let's go and enjoy Christmas. Right guys, as you can see, the power wall is on the wall. Heavy bloody things, about 130 kilos it is, so you need to have yourself some sort of jack like we were using, that motorbike jack we had. So yeah, good, all done. It's time to go and drink some mulled wine and eat far too much and enjoy some Christmas time off. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video so far. Obviously you've seen us install the panels and all the kit in here. I've got quite a bit of the AC side wired, but there's still a lot to do. Obviously after Christmas, in between Christmas and New Year, we might pop in for a day and get the meter tails backwards and forwards and do a little bit more. But then in the New Year, that's when we're going to be digging the trench for the DC cables, and that's when we can look to get it commissioned. Well, welcome back and Happy New Year. We hope you had a fantastic Christmas. This is our first day back after the holidays. I'm not sure why, but my clothes seem to be fitting a little bit tighter than normal. But here we are, excited to crack on with this fantastic job. And we made great progress over the Christmas holiday. And now I'm going to spend today just finishing off the wiring side of things, the internal wiring, get all the gateway connected up. We're currently running the meter tails backwards and forwards from the main incomer, and get the Zappi connected, get the Eddi up and running, get the power wall connected, and the inverters up and running. But there's only so much I can do, because unfortunately we're missing the fuse holder for the gateway, which is a bit frustrating. So that's going to come out tomorrow, but we'll make significant progress today. Okay, so we now have power onto the gateway, which is great. So I was just going to chat through basically our setup here and how the gateway works with the power wall. So if you just come over here, I'll show you. Basically we have, well actually we'll start over here. So we've split the meter tails now, so they're coming straight out the meter, and they'll go to the gateway and then back, and then the feed in this board, that board, basically the whole house. They have got an annex as well, so it's feeding everything basically. So in the event of a power cut, the gateway and the Powerwall will take over, and it'll power, you know, everything. But obviously bearing in mind, if you start putting everything on, showers, induction hobs, your air source, your ground source heat pumps and everything like that, it'll be used up very quickly. Obviously the customer can add to this Powerwall. You can add a second, third, fourth, and that's something that, you know, he'll soon, you know, they'll soon suss out themselves basically what's best for them, because they have got a lot going on here, because I've got the annex for their mother-in-law, and then we've got the main house with all what's going on in there as well, and they've got the ground source heat pump as well. So there's an awful lot going on. So here is the Tesla gateway. Now we're all connected. If you come and have a closer look, for those who might be thinking of installing them themselves, we've got, this is the main fuse holder. So there's a 100 amp fuse in there. We've got our main incomer, so that's coming from the DNO into the top, out at the bottom of the main fuse, and into L1 in the supply. There's L2 and L3 should you require it for a 3-phase system. And then we've got our main neutral that comes in from the DNO straight into there, and then L1 going out. We have one side going into the top of the main switch that we've installed. We've installed this Type A RCD main switch, and that is serving our Powerwall and our both inverters as well. There's a little bit more to be done in here, which we'll be getting done shortly. And then this is the CT clamp. This goes over both of the solar inverter main lines out, and then this one, these two CTs are for our Zappi and the Eddi. So basically, from here, we wire a 6mm twin and earth along to our Powerwall isolator, from the Powerwall isolator to the Powerwall. And for the Powerwall, you also need the communication cables, which are here. We just use a little 1mm twin and earth for the positive and negative, and then you've got a screened Ethernet cable. You need a single pair as well. So there's that. They also run directly through into the Powerwall, and they just connect into this side here. You can't. The panel's inside. I won't bother taking that off, but they just connect in there. It's very, very straightforward, nice and easy to work with. So our inverters, we've got two 32s, MCBs, two 6mm cables out. Inverter 1 generation meter, out of that, into our first AC isolator for the inverter 1, out and in to the inverter 1. We've got our strings connected, so each inverter is doing 2 strings of 11. So we've got 44 panels in total, and we've split them equally. So there's 11, 11, 11, 11. This is doing 22, and this is doing 22. And then, so yeah, the 6mm comes out, that serves that, and then the other one, we come along here, inverter 2 isolator, and in. And then the DC isolators for each inverter, obviously, are here and here. And as you can see, we've run our DC cables all the way through, and then they just run alongside all the main AC cables through the joists. So they're coming along, down into the corresponding isolators, and then into the inverters. Yeah, so that's that. So we're getting on quite well. We're going to commission the Powerwall now, and then what we've got to do next is get the DC cables through the ground, where we've got someone digging the trench at the minute. We'll show you that later. And we're going to put probably some 32mm waste pipe just to protect the cables as they go underground, and then we'll go up into the loft where we join with our existing cables out there, out onto the roof. So still a little bit to go, but we're well on top of it now, and yeah, like I say, we'll just get the Powerwall commissioned and we're good to go. So that's the end of part 2. Obviously, we've now installed most of the hardware, all the equipment, such as the inverters, the Tesla Powerwall, and the Zappi and the Eddi. All the components basically are in place. Everything's been wired and tested on the AC side of things. But what is still left to do is get the DC cables across between the house and the garage, because what we've done on this installation is so that we could get on both ends where the solar panels are in the loft. The DC cables come into a junction box in the loft, and then there's another junction box in the garage, and that's why we've been able to get our DC cables from that junction box in the garage into the inverters. So we are ready to go at both ends. They just need to be connected between junction boxes, and that's where we need the trench so that we can get our cables through that trench and connect them at both ends. And that's when we can obviously test the DC cables, test the whole array, and finish commissioning the system. So hopefully there'll be something in there for everyone, installers and customers alike, who might be looking at SolarEdge, might be looking at Tesla Powerwalls or the Zappi. Yeah, we'll do a little bit of a chat on why we've chose them. So hopefully you've enjoyed it so far. Thank you so much for watching, and please do click on the next link for part 3. And yeah, if you like what you're watching, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.